YouTube, I am back. I know, no, I am not that 2018 little 8-year-old girl who did the Kiki challenge that was absolutely ballistic. Today I am a whole different person. Believe me, this will not turn out to be cringe. And I am back because we're in quarantine and I decided that people aren't really having any fun and they're not making fun out of themselves. So my sisters and I actually got really inspired by this Martha Stewart brown butter crinkle cookie recipe. And I decided that it was so successful and so good, so entertaining, that I would share it with you guys. So, just again, this video is not sponsored, any of the ingredients. I just generally recommend all these brands, and I'm just so happy for everything. Also, I'm going to be sharing the alternatives. For an example, if you don't have butter at home, I can teach you how to make butter, or like a brief little lesson. So let's get on with the tutorial. So once again, we're making brown butter crinkle cookies inspired by Martha Stewart. And so let's begin. You'd need 1 stick of melted butter. I personally recommend the brand called Le Bourbordier, but that's that one right there. But there's obviously, you can just find butter at your local grocery store, Fortino, Sobeys, whatever you go to. You can always just find your butter, probably help your needs. Also, I was talking to my sister Jenna the other day. If you don't have butter, don't worry, there's an emergency backup. You can mix salt and cream. That actually makes butter, and it's actually successful, so that could actually work. You can always try that, and then once again, if you don't have butter or you don't have the ingredients to make butter isn't that necessary in this recipe. It just gives that really nice, flavorful flavor, and then it also gives like a really good texture to it. But if you don't have butter, I mean, they might taste a little bit raw, but butter's always a good thing for baking. Okay, next is 2/4 cup of unbleached flour. So for this one, for baking these cookies, this is more necessary than butter. So if you do not have this one, your recipe, well, I mean, you could still make it, but it won't necessarily taste like a cookie. It might not have that texture, that flavor. You'll feel something that is missing, which is not exactly a bad thing, but I definitely do recommend having that unbleached flour with you. Okay, anyways, let's move on to number 3, since this was like such a successful recipe. Anyways, there is a 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Now, this isn't exactly a teaspoon, but, well, yeah, it's not even a teaspoon at all, but anyways, that is, yeah, so here's baking powder. This is the brand that we usually use, but again, you can find them in a store called Pusateri. Most of our ingredients will be found in Pusateri, and then you can always find it at your local grocery store. If it's closed, baking powder is just, you bake with baking powder. Okay, anyways, you need a 3/4 teaspoon of salt. So just to clarify for this, you guys, I know, like, you're probably thinking, do we need Himalayan salt? Do we need sea salt? Is there a specific type of baking salt that we need? Actually, no. So just this salt is actually fine. Sorry, it's quite empty. I use a lot of salt for this recipe. That type of salt is actually fine. You don't need to go to a different, like, exquisite grocery store just for salt. Whatever you have in the house, make use of it, right? We need to use these things. Okay. 1 cup of sugar. So when I mean 1 cup, I actually mean like a measured cup. I don't literally mean a cup. So yeah, a cup of sugar. I don't know if Jenna's bringing an example for me or not. Okay, so yeah. So a cup. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Jenna. Jenna, come here. Then you need 2 eggs. Brown eggs are recommended, but I mean, you can come too.
We use white eggs though.
Okay, then yeah, you can always use white eggs, but brown eggs, in my opinion, I don't know why, but brown eggs is gonna be a better vibe. So, yeah. Let's see. You need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And Amelia's just running to get that, just to show you for demonstration. Vanilla extract. Right. So yeah. You can find this anywhere, any like baking grocery store, Fortino's, Sobeys, whatever you go to. Even Pusateri might have it. I'm not sure. Okay. Let's see. Now, a 3/4 cup of confer sugar. That's a different type of sugar, which is definitely needed for this cookie. So, yeah, it's actually, you only need like about 8 ingredients. It's pretty simple. Once again, these are the only ingredients I have out. Baking powder, butter. Amelia wrote this. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna move this around. Okay, so oh yeah, these are the final product, by the way. That's what you get. They're in the cookie jar, but okay. So what you first need to do is you need to heat our butter on low heat. So, for this one, you wouldn't want to put it on like a million degrees. This would be one of the, so you just need a, okay. Yeah, so you just put it on low heat. In the meanwhile, while you're heating your butter, or while you're melting your butter in the microwave or your oven or even stovetop is actually recommended. In the meanwhile, you'd mix all the dry ingredients, which would be your flour, your baking powder, your salt. I don't know if eggs count. I don't think
no, I think that will. Yeah, eggs go in
there. All right. Okay. So once all of the above is in the ad, so you take out the hot butter. Hopefully, oh my god. Okay. Amelia wants to show you that there's unbleached flour.
In case if you don't know what it is,
yeah.
This is the unbleached
and
flour.
salt.
Yeah. So you take 1 tablespoon of your dough, because once you mix all your dry ingredients and the butter, you'd have this dough texture already made, and then you'd be able to make your dough. So once you take your 1 tablespoon of your dough, and then you make the cookies, dip the cookies in 1 cup of graduated sugar, and then put them in the, yeah. Okay, so after you dip your cookie dough in the butter and then have whatever you need to do for your mixture, you then bake it. Okay, here, let me just go over the recipe again because this is really confusing. Okay, sorry. Okay, heat the butter on low temperature. Okay, you're gonna take your butter, melt it on a stovetop. All right, that's what's number 1. In the meanwhile, while your butter is melting, because it obviously will gradually take a while. After all, it is a big, thick stick of butter. Excuse my language. Okay, of butter. Anyways, what you would do in the meanwhile is you would take your dry ingredients, which are your flour, your baking powder, your salt, your graduated sugar, pretty much. You take your ingredients, all right, put them in a bowl, mix them, and then this would form into a dough. While you add your butter, you get this creamy dough. Like your eggs are in there, everything. It'll start to form into a dough. Now, what I recommend for mixing this is I actually have a Smeg hand blender, which is not out, but just to give you like a review, kind of. It's just that. Yeah. So I do recommend Smeg as a brand. I definitely do recommend Smeg. Again, not sponsored, but Smeg is definitely a good blending mixture. Obviously, there's toasters and everything. Anyways, back on topic. So eventually you mix all your ingredients except for your graduated sugar. After you have your dough, you then mix it in your sugars, and then you would bake it for 20 minutes, and you would get your product. Now, I'm not too sure if this sounds clear, but again, you can always rewind the video and take it back. I'm sorry if I'm not clear, but yeah.
Do you want me to bring the
So
cookies?
just stay here. Yeah, okay. So this is what it hopefully would look like in the end if you did follow the recipe. So they're really good, and they actually taste, oh my god. They actually taste really good.
And that's why they're called like those crackly things.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.